My friend lied about us having an affair. My boyfriend refused to believe me.
With friends like these, who needs enemies?
I want to start off by saying that I realize how messed up a situation this is. And I understand why my boyfriend would be upset and even suspicious. But I can't believe he doesn't trust me. By the way, this comes from Going Crazy 123456. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I've been with my boyfriend, Paul, for 3 years. In the beginning of our relationship, Paul had some issues with trust. He had been cheated on in the past. I made it clear right away that I had never cheated on anyone, that I would not, and that I understood if he had trust issues from the past, but that it was a deal breaker for me to be with someone who couldn't trust me. He has, since those early days, been really good about it. Throughout our 3 years together, I think I have earned his trust. I have always been honest with him and never cheated on him. He's asked to see conversations of mine that I've had with male friends twice over those 3 years, and I've obliged. The second time, however, I made it clear to him that I was very unhappy to be treated as though I was acting suspiciously. I did not deserve privacy with my friends when he had no reason at all to think I was being shady. I said that if he didn't trust me because of something I have said or done, I was 100% happy to have a conversation about that, to discuss it, and to address any issues he had. But if I had done literally nothing to cause suspicion, then I expected him to trust me. Good on you, OP. He agreed with me, said that I had done nothing wrong, and never asked again. One of those conversations he asked about was with my friend Roger. Roger had, 2 years before I started dating Paul, confessed feelings of love for me. I told him I wasn't interested, and that was that. By the time I was seeing Paul, I had absolutely no reason to think things were anything but platonic between Roger and myself. A week ago, Roger and I got together for coffee. Again, I want to stress that before this happened, I had literally no reason at all to think that he held any of those feelings still. At the cafe, Roger suddenly went on this impassioned monologue about how much he still loved me, how Paul was a terrible boyfriend, and how I should dump him and be with Roger, how loyal Roger was, how perfect we were together.
Yikes.
I was pretty much silent through this whole speech because I was so surprised and uncomfortable. But when he stopped, I told him, probably not as strong as I should have, but I didn't know what to do, that I love Paul, that I was absolutely not leaving Paul, and that I needed to go home immediately. I was shaken up by the whole thing, so I took my time getting home to calm down. By that time I got home, I found that Roger had sent a long, utterly insane Facebook message to Paul detailing how much he loved me, that we were destined to be together, and heavily implying but not outright stating that Roger and I had been carrying on an affair for weeks. Yikes.
Well,
Yikes.
that's one way to do that.
I don't know why he did this. I have no explanation. Paul believes it completely. He has listened to my explanation of things but thinks I'm lying. He doesn't want to see me or talk to me at all anymore. I'm completely devastated that Paul would believe this Facebook message over me. I'm horrified that my relationship with him has ended like this. I'm embarrassed that now I'm being seen as a cheater and a sloot who slept around on Paul. I'm utterly hateful towards Roger. It's very frustrating to have your boyfriend, Paul, who, again, like, it's seemingly it's because of his past experiences, but to not, you could be like, oh, I'm assuming you were like, I can show you on my phone. Like, there's no proof of this at all. He's lying.
One snippet of real advice, because we've had stories like this, and it's like when something like this happens and you're in a relationship, you need to immediately talk about it that day.
Yeah. Well, I think
like,
she did. Oh,
no, because it's like now
she got home
he's
later.
Here, right.
That was the problem.
It
She
needs
got
to
home
be
later
like
and he had
like
sent it.
You won't believe what just happened to me at the coffee shop.
Absolutely.
Like, it's immediate communication of like, yo.
I do think it was like within an hour or two, you know? I think she was like,
Yeah.
whoa, what just happened? And then she gets home and he's like, I just got this Facebook message.
Oh,
You're
I
cheating.
I interpreted that there was like a gap. But
I know it
there
was same
very well
day.
could not have been.
I know it was same day because she said I just took a little bit longer getting home because I was like shocked. It's been a week and I can't convince Paul to talk to me. I know he had those trust issues in the past, but I really believe we were long past them. Comments. Comment 1 says, maybe a little late for now, but what you should have done was call the crazy friend while you were with trust issue boyfriend. Have the phone on speaker and ask him why on earth he would lie to your boyfriend like that. Comment 2 says, I think your answer is kind of nested in what you wrote. You find it a deal breaker if someone is unable to trust you, your boyfriend, in the context of a my word versus their situation, without there being any evidence besides Roger's word to suggest you were cheating, and with the set against your stated position that you haven't ever done so, has chosen to believe someone else over you. It seems he does not trust you. And you've just said yourself what you decided the consequences of that would be. That is true. That is what you said. If you can't trust me, then we can't be together, and he can't trust you.
So I guess we can't be together.
So yeah, that's pretty game, set, match.
Done answered your own question.
Opie says, I didn't think of it this way until you put it so clearly. I guess you're right. Even if I spoke to Paul now, I would always remember that he didn't believe me or trust me. I'd always be scared of it happening again. Comment 3 says, none of this is your fault. Your friend is nutty, however. I think the lesson here is when a friend declares feelings for you, it is smarter not to maintain that relationship. Everybody is not as weird as your friend, who I hope you are now not speaking to, but it is at least awkward. Well, I disagree with that. I don't think it's always, like, if someone declares feelings, I don't think it's always the end of the friendship.
It should be the end of this friendship.
It should have been the end of this friendship, yes. I don't think you can do much of anything except hope Paul will come around. OP says, I haven't had any contact at all with Roger, and I don't think I could ever forgive him. I mean, why would you? Not only did he, lie and say, I don't even know, like, it's not that he, like, reached out to your boyfriend and said, oh, I am in love with your girlfriend. He also implied that you had been sleeping together, which is so disgusting to me.
Well, it's just the whole nature of the lie.
I mean,
just
it's all
like
disgusting.
it's from a gross,
It's
just
very,
like place of deceit and
this, like,
infatuation.
Yeah,
So
and
when
just delusion.
When you get someone in your life like this who, like, confesses all these big feelings, I do agree with you when you say, like, it doesn't have to be the end of connection, period. But, like, moving forward, you really do have to have, like, you got to, like, really attune your radar, your BS radar.
Absolutely.
To this person.
I mean, you should be adjusting how you interact with them. Absolutely,
Right.
I think. And also, I think there is a difference between confessing feelings, like a crush, and confessing love. Because love is a big emotion. Weirdly enough, Roger has not at all attempted to contact me since this happened. He sent that Facebook message to Paul and now has gone totally silent and not attempted to contact either me or Paul. That's because it was if I can't have you, no one can.
Right.
He wanted to get revenge on you because you rejected him and he's a piece of trash. Comment 4 says, so this guy professed his love and you kept him around the last few years? Do you keep any of these other men hovering around you waiting for their chance? I don't blame your boyfriend. I don't like this comment. If I got that message, it would take a lot of convincing that it wasn't true. For someone to confess to an affair that didn't happen is quite rare indeed. And even if untrue, I'd be mad that I had to be involved in spillover trauma from your friends.
Yeah, this is a guy who likes to
You'd be like, I'd be mad if someone crazy was being crazy towards you and then they also were crazy towards me. Like, what the heck? Why'd you involve me in your drama? Update, though. Do you have any thoughts before we scoot in there?
Yeah, I mean, I think regardless of, like, and we already said that, it's like Roger threw the wrench in here, but it is just showing you that, like, the partner that you're with, Paul, he's not in a place where he can trust you.
Yeah.
And if that's a prerequisite of y'all being together, well, now you've realized you guys aren't really, meant to be dating
together
right now anyway.
Yeah.
So in a way, you almost have to chalk it up to just be like, thanks, universe.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You've given me a sign. After 3 years, he doesn't trust me. But anyway, there's an update. I want to thank everyone so much for commenting. Before I post what happened, I just want to address a few things that I didn't get to in the first post. First, Paul knew I was having coffee with Roger. It wasn't some kind of secret thing. Paul has female friends he has lunch or coffee with alone too, so this isn't unusual in our relationship. Second, Paul did not know that Roger had said he loved me 5 years ago. I definitely made a mistake not telling him that, but honestly, it was so long ago and to my obviously wrong knowledge was old history. We did not extensively discuss our past, so there wasn't really a natural point where it would have come up, and it just never occurred to me to say anything. I mean, honestly, yeah, I kind of, like, if it was like a one-time thing,
Right.
I understand that.
I'm never going to be in a
There
relationship.
was no relationship.
I'm never going to be like, hey, so here's every person who's ever told me they love me.
There would be so many people.
Do you want it alphabetical?
Finally, Roger and I did not have a particularly intense friendship. It's not like we were texting constantly or best buddies. We hung out occasionally and would be in touch if something relevant came up, but we didn't just chat randomly. Anyway, with that being said, I took the advice of some Redditors, and when I was a little calmer, I Facebook messaged Roger asking him why he lied. He responded with, "What do you mean?" At which point I started pressing him harder. He responded only with one-word answers and honestly didn't reply to most of my messages at all. No matter how much I asked, he never actually said any definitive statement of, yes, I lied for such and such reason. Finally, I sent him a definitive statement that said I had never had an affair with him, that I was incredibly hurt and angry, that our friendship was over, and that he was never to contact me again. He replied, okay. And that was that. I sent the entire Facebook conversation to Paul, not thinking it would help save us, but just to try and clear my name, which is fair. I mean, like, even if you don't want to be with Paul anymore, I wouldn't want an ex of mine to be like, yeah, she cheated on me. Like, yeah, it's not a good look. In the message, I asked him if Roger's reactions to my questions and my response to Roger was in line with what he would expect if Roger's accusations were true. Paul didn't respond that day, but the next day he called me. Paul basically said that the more he thought about it, the more he believed me, and that the conversation between Roger and I helped him believe that Roger's responses didn't make sense, and that he now thought nothing had gone on. Too late. Oh, however, he said despite that, the trust was broken between us and he couldn't be with me. I got pretty mad and yelled at him, asking why I was being punished for nothing, and he just basically disengaged from the discussion.
Oh, but see, girl, you're not being punished. You got to say thank you, universe,
yeah,
for not having me waste more of my time.
This is not a punishment. You are being saved from this.
It probably feels like one, but in reality, it's just not.
Not my finest moment, I know. I was just so overwhelmed with frustration. We did eventually end the conversation calmly, if not amiably. And he is dropping off the stuff that I had left at his apartment later this week. But you can drop yourself off to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there's a wee bit left to the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Don't jump to conclusions.
Don't jump to conclusions,
people. Gather your evidence. I'm probably calling the guy accusing, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm Paul and I'm nervous, I'm going to be like, all right, let me see how tight this guy's story is.
Yeah. Okay. When did it start? But it seems like he just kind of, I don't know if Paul tried to message him back, but it seems like OP said that he just kind of stopped talking to both of them.
I mean, of course, but I'm just saying, if I'm in a situation where it's like, and I'm presented with this information.
Yeah.
I'm going to the person accusing and saying that if they're involved with it.
Show me
like, all right, so when did it happen? Like, what is that? Blah, blah, blah. Like, what does their right butt cheek look like?
That's what I was thinking, actually. Do they have a mole on their butt?
Yeah. Anyway, there's a bunch of different ways you could go about that. Just that's what I do before being like, gross. I'm believing it and not talking to either of them.
I learned my lesson. Not only will any declaration of interest by a friend end that friendship forever, but I will never date someone who has trust issues or a history of being cheated on again. I'm sure I come across as a little bitter about this, but I honestly feel like there was absolutely no point to my fidelity and honesty during those 3 years. Of course there's a point. You were a good person. You were a good partner.
OP's so confused about this. She's like, damn, should I have just been cheating on him the whole time?
It's like, no, of course not.
Maybe I should cheat on my man.
I got treated like a cheater, whether or not I cheated, and both Paul and I ended up hurt and alone despite being 100% faithful. That's not your fault for being like honest in a relationship. That's Paul. Better to end up alone or stick to friends with benefits than end up investing another 3 years in a relationship to have this be the conclusion. Wow. OP is in her feels.
Upsetty spaghetti.
Girly. No. This is not the takeaway. Paul sucks.
Yes.
The takeaway is not that your relationships are always going to be like this and that you should just cheat. That's not the takeaway.
The answer to this is cheat.
No, wrong answer. Stop.
You're right. You should cheat on every man and make sure don't date any guys who have trust issues already, because you'd be wasting your time. You should be giving trust issues to the people who don't have them yet.
Terrible.
No, people, come on. No, don't do that. That's all jokey jokes. Yeah, and I don't ever like the response. Well, I guess I'll never date a guy who has been cheated on or has trust issues again. Or it's like, I guess I'll never do that. It's like, stop doing black and white stuff. Everything in life lives in the gray area between black and white.
Yeah, like, of course there are going to be some people that like have very deep trust issues that probably aren't ready for a relationship in general.